Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Leadnap Gaming, Missile Operator Mode. What we want and what we got. "2021 was off to a great start. Polaris was back on the menu, torpedoes and missiles were getting a rework, and we were getting Missile Operator Mode. The question is though, are we getting what we're hoping for? Is there opportunity for CIG to make this better, or will this just be another hover mode? Quickly though, we're less than 700 subs away from hitting our 10,000 sub goal, which means we are less than 700 subs away from someone winning a Perseus. So if you're not yet subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to comment on videos. This is probably the final month to be selected for the drawing. Full details in the description below. What is Missile Operator Mode? In short, the very first multiplayer multi-crew gameplay we'll see, and that's pretty exciting. Finally having a friend on board will be a help. Now while you pilot and shoot the guns, your buddy can lock and fire the missiles. So what could be so bad about that? Well, two things really. The idea is solid, it's just the execution not so much. Missile Operator Mode, it turns out, is more like a dogfight switch in my venerable Viper. CIG is going to limit it so you can either fire your guns or you can fire your missiles. Right away this is a problem. In 2021, most modern fighter aircraft are capable of firing both missiles and guns from the same mode. It's in part why you have a pickle button and a trigger. Thousands of years in the future, fighter pilots are going to be unable to do this because poor game balancing. In CIG's efforts to make the dogfighting more realistic and less like a video game, they're throwing out anything that resembles realism and instead copying to standard video game balancing tactics instead. The ability of our second crewman to be able to lock and fire independently is a huge bonus. Ask anyone who's ever used an AIM-9X with its off-bore lock capability, and you can understand why allowing a turret gunner to control the ship's missile systems could be a major bonus to ships that are multi-crew. Artificially preventing single-seat pilots, or really anyone for that matter, from controlling both guns and missiles is unneeded. Now, CIG might look at the current availability of play and say it certainly is needed, but we don't need to balance by removing capability, rather adding more. Which is the next problem. We dreamed of all of these amazing changes to missiles and torps, and based on what CIG's given us so far, for sure, this is it. Anyone who owns a Tally right now is hovering their finger on that melt button, and that's because torps are so slow even AI turret gunners can easily swat them out of the sky. Perseus is already looking more buffed because the Polaris torps are going to be useless if things stay like this. What if I said you could keep the slow torps and still make them incredibly good? What if the Polaris's true combat prowess was hunting while you didn't know it was there? And what if we could make combat more realistic, not less? This, to me, is what Missile Operator Mode should have been. The ability to operate the missiles and torps. Not everything. But on the one hand, CIG wants us to make more decisions and be more decisive in dogfighting, while on the other hand, removing all barriers and challenges to keep the new players entertained. Single-seat fighters, even just fighters in general, everything using smaller missiles can keep them in their current state. Lock on target, fire a missile. The new missile flight tech and fuel burn stages are going to be awesome here, and this is your entry level. However, for torpedo and larger missile play, it should become more advanced, and to do this we want to see a true Missile Operator Mode, like that of the TOW missile, or its peer-guided anti-tank munitions. For missiles, the Missile Operator, be it co-pilot, turret gunner, or what have you, can both lock targets of their own or just operate the missile. From here, when fired, they can guide the missile like it were a ship, and, even on larger missiles, control which phase of flight the missile's in, since during the ballistic phase you're probably going to have very little control. Now the balance gurus out there are probably freaking out a little bit, but aside from a built-in limitation, there's an opportunity for CIG's art team to really play with the interface. Rather than a true video camera style shot, CIG could give us a missile camera view that more presents a target shape or signature, but little anything else, allowing countermeasures to disrupt and spoof in this view, potentially confusing human operators. From a coding standpoint, this already exists. You can already watch your missiles with a missile camera go in, so we've already got the tech. Now, of course, the other limitation is that the operator can only control a single missile, and limiting the system to a single operator, the missile may be far harder to dodge, but there's only one. Of course, missile operators should have the option to allow onboard guidance and fire multiple missiles instead. An organic set of choices now have to be made. And while using the mode has major benefits, it also now has some drawbacks. Another solid feature that would be quite welcome for certain missile types would be the ability to mad dog them, literally fire unlocked into space and let them choose their own target after the fact. Of course, just like in real life, they may never acquire a target, or may acquire a friendly. Though it sounds like a great opening salvo, in truth, this is really more of a last-ditch effort. What about those torpedoes, though? Well, we need look no further than the ships that primarily use torpedoes anyways for inspiration: submarines. The Polaris was supposed to be a long-range sniper, detecting you and launching its massive torpedoes at you from long range, which, given today's torpedo play, good thing it was pushed back. The thing is, this is the exact sort of play torpedoes should have. Torpedo launching craft should be able to locate their targets and not lock on them. After all, the point is surprise, because the torp isn't fast. Missile operator mode kicks in again. Now, a Polaris, for example, can launch its torps from beyond scanning range of the target, allowing the control operator to guide them remotely towards the target. Whoa, now Lead, that seems pretty unbalanced. Except you give the torps the same limitations real subs have. You can fire and control a torpedo in the water as long as it has fuel, but the result is the control wire must remain intact. You must continue to close the distance to the target, and you cannot reload. Assuming Polaris, as the example ship, has 4 tubes. That means from extended range it can fire up to, but only up to, 4 torpedoes and hope that the target is not at battle stations when their own sensors pick up the torps. If, however, the turrets can react in time, the torps are probably not going to make it. And now the Polaris is at a huge disadvantage. The reload cycle is going to take a while, and now it only has speed to flee. Or maybe it only fired 2, keeping 2 reserved for this moment. Or the Polaris may opt to cut the cables and allow the torps to go active, searching for the target. But then, that also instantly alerts everyone of their presence. Balancing when to initiate your reload and lose control would be an awesome minigame, and introduces a great deal of game balance, because the torpedo everyone can see is a torpedo that probably isn't going to hit pay dirt. Now, size matters, but some ships could see variations of these rules. The Harbinger, for example, doesn't have a launch tube, but instead drops its torps through a slotted bay. While limited to 3 torps, it could perhaps be allowed to cycle the next weapon into firing position and fire without severing the cables. Of course, it's not stealthy, they're smaller torps, and guided mode is a lot less likely to be highly valued here. The Eclipse? Well, its ability to launch right on top of you is already a solid buff, but a single crewman in the pit means the pilot has to do the guidance and fly at the same time. These are just a few ideas, things you can look to current missile and torpedo tech to see and draw balances from. It would make various missiles and torpedoes you purchase have more value too. Better seekers, more controllable. Decisions on what you carry into the fight now matter more. We don't need to dumb it down. Complex choices don't require complicated operations. The requirement to carry an extra crewman, particularly a human one, add a huge degree of balance that can be harnessed. So today, missile operator mode's about as useful as hover mode was, though I liked hover mode. But CIG still has time to take in suggestions, still has time to reevaluate some ideas. It's up to us in the community to make our voice be heard, constructively. Maybe the first iteration won't have all this, but if we give them the ideas and the support, down the road we might just have some incredibly cool combat gameplay. So let me know in the comments, what ideas do you have? As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends, and I will catch you all next time.